Yeah. It's nice to hear about what an ADHD is and that they should come to you and all that stuff. But what are you doing with them? And that is what I'm going to explain today. I'm talking about the mind mapping. People would say, okay, I have plans, and those plans I'm developing. So I develop them how? And I tell them you develop them with a mind map. A map of your mind, because there's one very simple thing that almost everybody knows about, but nobody uses so much, and that is we do not remember words and everything, written stuff and so on, but we remember pictures, everything in pictures. Our brain is already programmed into mind mapping without us even knowing what it is. Think about that. In your mind, you can almost remember everything if you make it into a picture. Not if you write it down, because first of all, we're all far too lazy to do it. The second is, we won't remember half of it, or not even 10% of it. But if we paint a picture, maybe we remember more, because our brain is very good at drawing, at remembering pictures, for children as well as for adults. So you start making a stem. Draw that, and then you say to yourself, okay, this stem is, let's say, history. Okay, what is history? Anybody who knows? Well, it's what happens in the old times. Okay, so what did happen in the old times? What do you know about? Somebody spits out, they're 12, 13, spits out that there was something about the Romans. They were butchering everybody, and Hannibal, and so on and so on. They bring up a lot of things, and I tell them, okay, with the first thing you come up, you draw one branch, and on that branch you write Romans. Okay, what did the Romans do? Well, they had a lot of wars. Okay, you make the next branch on it, on this Roman side, and say, wars. Do you know anything about the wars? And they will come up with something they've read about, or something they've heard about, or some movie they've seen. All those guys who fought in this arena and killed each other. What are they called? So you write that name, and the next, and the next. At the end, you have a lot about Romans. Then you take a color, for instance red, and you draw around it, totally around it, this first branch, and you have the Romans. Then you go up a little bit higher. You go up to the A levels, or whatever, and there you have, okay, you have to stand up with this, that, and the other. You have to learn a hell of a lot of things. How do you do it? With a mind map, obviously. It's so simple. The tree, the stem is there. It's the subject that they have to do, and then they start. The first, the next, the next, the next, the next, and it becomes a big picture with a lot of colors on it, where always everything that belongs together is one color, and the next thing that belongs together is the next color, and so on. And what I found out is that all those kids improved a lot with their studies, where earlier they didn't even have interest to do anything. But now they were sitting, and they were drawing, and they were screaming to each other, come here, have you seen it? Have you seen it? So interested, so fascinated by it. Now go up to the adult front. We are adults, aren't we? I'm a little bit of an adult. I think with 72 you should be something of an adult, shouldn't I? I've done that all my life, this mind map, because I found out that as an ADHD I never had patience. I never could go on. Like when I started to do all my A levels and all the rest, it was tremendously difficult for me to remember things. So I started to do exactly what I trained all the kids to do. The mind maps for every single subject. It worked excellently, so I came to the teacher training school. Oh, another thing I have to say, when I did that with a mind map, actually I did not study 3 years like everybody else did. I did it in 3 months, or less than 3 months, because it was so fascinating, so I could almost work 26 hours a day. I didn't. 25 was enough. But it was something where I could do what I needed to do in a way that I wanted to do. Later on, I had to do the teacher training school. Again, I used the mind map. And there were a lot of the other young candidates to become teachers who looked at me and saw what I did and tried to copy it. And I explained it to everybody, and after that, I think most of the pupils we had, or the candidates as we were called, were using mind maps and had much better results than they had before. This mind map was functioning so good that I actually cleared both teacher training school, cleared the university, cleared everything, and finally got out to harass you guys as a shrink. And it still works. And I suggest that if you really want to help your kids, try to read everything about this mind map. Experiment with the kids. Do it in a way so they enjoy it and that you enjoy it. Give them all the time in the world that they want to have. Don't come and say, hurry up. That's stupid. That won't work with us. But instead say, how do you feel about it? And when you hear it's great, okay, go on. When you hear it's boring, okay, let's do something else. Always. Because we cannot work when we think something is boring. It just doesn't work for us.